SEO 2.0 Search Engine Optimization in 2022.
Please welcome on the stage Stuart Langridge, Head of SEO at CoinMarketCap. Please give him a big hand. Also, put your hands together for Marta Szmidt, Head of SEO at Evolution. Please give a big hand to Emre Goktas, Founder at RevPanda. Please welcome Marijana Škrivanko. Am I correct? Škrivanko. She's the SEO strategy lead at Catena Media. And as I mentioned earlier, last but not least, Noureddine Khiti, founder and CEO at CodShopy.com. He's staying with us at this panel. So please, Stuart, the floor is yours. And please listen attentively. Thank you.
Hello.
We're on.
Wonderful.
We're on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. So we're here just to talk about the way that SEO has been changing over the last few years. As you've seen, we've got a panel that generates enormous amounts of search traffic. If these guys don't know, I'm not sure anybody will. My first question really, and it's the one that I feel is most appropriate, is has anything really changed in search in the last, say, 18 months? I think unless you're in very specific niches, it might not. I'll start with Emre here. Okay. What are your thoughts?
Hi guys, to introduce myself, my name is Emre. I used to be an SEO affiliate. I made an exit. And now I'm running an agency called RevPanda. I did a lot change, like not so much, but I think something has changed. For example, we had this page speed update in last year, I think. It did definitely make an impact. Many websites had to redesign. They had to, increase their speed, and it kind of also brings some anxiety for many SEOs that they were obsessed with their lighthouse metrics. So I think, yeah, it did.
Okay, interesting. We went through a ton of effort there, I know. Marta, your thoughts?
Yes, I completely agree with Emre. I think the user engagement was very relevant in the last year as well. But I think with the Google MAM update, we can kind of see confirmation how important is the content, and to cover any topic in a very holistic way started to be more and more important. So obviously user engagement, but also the content quality, for me, those are the 2 points that matters in the last few months.
Okay, thank you. Marijana?
Hi, just a quick update. My name is Marijana Škrivanko, and I used to work for Catena Media. Right now I'm at Win Global Media, but this wasn't updated. Either way, what changed? Let's say the search experience overall is changing to accommodate more efficiently to the user's queries and to the user needs. And we as SEOs need to look for ways to, let's say, further to be able to scale a bit better and to be able to respond to these search queries better. So scalability is my point of view.
Okay, thank you. So you're talking there about growing big sites bigger. Is that
correct?
What you're saying?
Correct.
Right. And Noureddine, you're in a completely different sector to us. So tell me, what have you seen changing?
Yeah, for me, as far as I'm the one who is in charge in my company for SEO. That's why I'm participating here in this panel, and I really like to be here along you guys. What are the main changes that happened lately in SEO? I see, in my perspective, that is, of course, Google keeps doing updates every now and then. And what I really found very crucial at the moment, which is the content. Of course, if you do content that respects what Google tells you about, that's gonna be for sure the results that you're aspiring for. Content always is the king, but sometimes it should be customized and optimized to the way that of course, search engine you want to get good results from, and good click-through rates, respectful click-through rate results, as I told you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So 3 of our panels have mentioned content, unsurprisingly. I guess to a certain degree we're talking about the authority, the quality, the trustworthiness. So I have to go to Emre because you create a lot of content for a lot of sites. How's that working for you?
Yeah, of course. I think the content is definitely the most important. Doesn't matter if you have the best links or if you have the best technical website that is very well optimized. If you have a content that sucks, it wouldn't be, the users wouldn't engage. It changed a lot in the past years. There is lots of things involved, such as AI. Google's algorithm has changed. A lot of tools have come recently, like we have now lots of on-page SEO tools with different keywords. Everybody have a different kind of a strategy that some of the guys think you have to replace some keywords, you have to implement some keywords to first paragraph, the end of the paragraph, and so on. But I think Marta also could also agree that there are lots of stuff involved, for example, BERT, MOM, NLPs, and so on. So it is changing over there with the content.
Okay, and so that was bringing Marta in. So you were talking a moment ago about AI. So for some of us, what that means is we just spend our days in Surfer SEO adding long-tail keywords to paragraphs, right? But that's not really where this is going, I think, is it? What sort of actions have you been taking to try and prepare for Google MUM and the AI changes that we know are coming?
I think to answer the question, we should maybe have a closer look at MUM. So Google MUM, it's a new AI-based technology. It was already introduced last year. And MUM stands for Multitask Unified Model. And it is going to change a bit search and the rankings. This is according to Google, so it's not live yet. But what we know is that for Google, it's going to be easier to understand high-quality content across 75 languages. So this is a bit of game changer. So the border of languages in top 10, it's going to disappear almost. So the best website is going to win independently of the language. So this is one characteristic of MUM. Another characteristic is that MUM is multitask, which means it will execute even faster the task to give the best answer. And it's multimodal. So Google confirms that in the future it's going to understand content across image, video, and even audio, so podcast. And I think this is something that we should integrate in our content. So the multimedia, this is something that I think in the future is going to be very important for our content. So if we don't have a team of experts or agency that can provide us that, I think we should start investing in those kind of extra improvements in our content. I think there's so much on the market, AI-based content generation, so many tools, but we do have to still invest in experts, in people that are actually real people and write the content themselves.
So I think to all of those here in the audience that are not actually SEOs, Marta's point is, if you're a manager, spend more money. The conversation we all have. But we've just been talking there about multiple languages, and obviously as you try and grow and scale into multiple languages, there's a range of difficulties that come. Marijana, from what I'm gathering, you've done some of this, so what have you found? What are your learning points?
Yeah, well, it's one thing if you have you grow your website to a certain point and you have decent visits, you even rank for some prestige search queries, like transactional ones, not just informative ones, the ones that bring your company value and money. But it's a whole different level when you try to increase that website from a certain point and make it like an authority website, like just website that's going to stand out in your niche. That's a whole different gameplay there. So while the initial, Google is going to eventually understand, and AI is going to be something that's going to be very, very interesting for us as SEOs. But right now, what we need to focus on in 2022, in my opinion, is scaling our efforts. Of course, if you want to be that or become that authority website in your niche, if you don't want to stay as one of the average sites that just cling to hang on the first page or the second page of Google. So I'd say scalability is something that we need to figure out, how to scale our content efforts, how to scale our design efforts, and even our development efforts. That's something that's really bugging me this time.
I have a certain sympathy because at the moment we're in the process of building 2.5 million pages for our website, and this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It takes real work, I'm afraid. Noureddine, at the end there, so you're in multiple different sectors. So I presume that some of your sites are in the kind of the price comparison and the review space. And that obviously has changed a lot for Google in the last 12 months or so. What kind of things are you seeing? Because there's been some very hard penalties applied to what were very good price comparison and review sites.
Yeah, for me, is the trick is in the structure of let's put it this way. Let's talk about an article, for example. The trick for me is when you start to outline and when you start having the willingness to write your article. I'm just taking an article as an example. Of course, we have a lot of things to take as an example. For me, I take, for example, for my CO, the Shopy solution, we want to make an article about how to rank your store within a certain long tail keyword within a certain area. Let's put it this way and talk about the local SEO. You have first to respect the language of that country. For example, if we happen to write an article and publish it and we have consumers in the Dutch region, which is Deutschland, Austria, and Switzerland, of course it should be German, because our article is going to be oriented and devoted only to that area. So for me, it's all about the principles and all about the structure of your, of course, on or off page SEO. No redundancy, no keyword stuffing, avoid the maximum you can to really come up with a good thing and then get good results and good positions in whether, of course, you are working locally or maybe globally. Of course, you go very far from your own area that you are elaborating your whether it is store, as I told you in my case, or a blog, or just a news website or whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. So let's dig a bit deeper here, I think. So we're all talking about scaling, we're talking about content, and we're talking about languages. So who wants to volunteer? How do you scale? What do you have, let's start with Emre. Do you have a range of content briefs that you're sending out?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we want to produce, I don't know, 200 documents on a theme in the next month, where are you going? What are your steps?
I mean, if it's from the scratch, then of course you have to do a lot of research. You have to check your competitors, right? I always do think that you have to be very innovative to be successful in SEO, especially in some certain industries such as crypto or iGaming. I do believe in that you have to make the content, we call it rich content, as Marta mentioned before, where you involve multimedia. But I also do believe in tools. Depends on the keywords, obviously, to make the user experience even better. And that's where I would start. Obviously, then after the research, we are going into the writing, then we are going into the QA, quality checking, and so on. Videos also could help to bring some traffic from YouTube. Also, it might help with the rankings on the search engine results pages. Other than that, development, I think, is quite important to make sure that you could bring a website that is better than what's out there. Because I mean, if you're gonna just try to be with a website, try to race with a website that's already there, and you don't want to do something better than them, or you don't have the resources to do something better than them, then don't even try. So content research, then the creation, then the quality check, and then the development, and then just publishing.
So I'm interpreting from that, be the best or don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think in this industry, such as iGaming and crypto, you have to have the power and the resources to be successful, I believe.
Oh, I don't disagree for a second. So, but you, as an agency, you're doing for a range of firms. Marta, you're specifically in gaming, aren't you? So if you're trying to grow your site rapidly, you've got I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 themes, and you're thinking, let's have those 10 themes in 10 languages on your site. What sort of process are you going through? What is it that you can deliver?
I think the process will look very like standardized, like the SEO process is to do a proper keyword research, like you mentioned. But I also think that the user intent starts to be even more important. So if I see that for certain keywords I have to have a video because it appears on the top of the search result, then like Emre mentioned, I should invest in video creation. If I see that for certain keywords I need to have a separate landing page, then obviously I do a landing page. If I see I can integrate the keyword on one page with another keywords, then I do this. So I think to see actually what is ranking already and what is the intent behind, it's a very important part of the process. And very often we SEOs, we forget that this is very important. And if we do start writing content without the user intent, we might have much more work afterwards. And sometimes this is the reason why some websites don't rank. They cover all the topics, they did keyword research, they hired a lot of content writers, and the content is not really ranking because of the user intent. So I think this is a very important part. And yeah, to answer the topic in a very holistic way as well, as I mentioned before, it's for me very important. Yeah, I think this is the process for me.
Okay, so the words I'm not hearing here are content brief. So it might be that we do things differently to others. I mean, if we're putting together a long tail, like an evergreen article, maybe 2,000 or 2,500 words, our content brief is 800 words, just to make sure our writer is really delivering on the areas we want. Like, yeah, we're hardcore, mate.
I've never heard 800 before. I think 50 maximum, 800 is a lot.
There's winning and there's winning, right? So, I mean, are you taking steps in this direction? Or are you, I mean, so I'll go back to Marta again. Are you just asking for a keyword, or are you going much further than that?
No, we have a very standardized process here as well. So our content briefings can be very long. And this is a very big part of SEO job, unfortunately. Some people like it, some people prefer doing link building. But I think if someone is into content and has expertise to write briefings, it's a very, very important team member of any SEO team. So what we do, we provide not only the main keyword and the content length, we also provide important headings that we believe are gonna cover the topic in total. We also try to standardize, obviously, a lot of content if we have a very big number to cover, especially for our games. But I think it is a combination of a content writer being creative, so this is also very important for us, and at the same time of SEO doing their job and research exactly what should content cover. So this is what we do.
Okay, thank you. So Marijana, let's go back to scaling, because we're talking here about scaling content. But of course, you can scale themes, you can scale designs, you can scale in all sorts of areas. What sort of thing are you working on, and what sort of actions are you taking?
So let's go step back a bit and just shortly explain what scaling is. Like, it's putting in a bit more effort in order to get 10 or 100 times as results as you get in your normal, let's say, SEO process. So this is especially important when you try to act like an international authority website. For instance, if you translate your website on different languages, there you have this big obstacle that you need a lot of different landing pages, a lot of pages to cover specific site areas. For instance, for us in iGaming, that would be casinos, bonuses pages, slot pages, game pages, and so on. So, and especially if you have like an international website or you have like different markets that you like to cover, scaling stuff is very important. So you do need to have like really proper, good templates for everything. And scaling content is possible not just not just like you have a proper template and you're gonna scale it by having a template. You can set your architecture straight in the first place, and then you can follow that architecture in terms of creating different sets of pages for a specific website. For instance, you're targeting India and you're targeting different areas in India. So you need sets of pages for every India area you're targeting. So this is what I'm talking about. If your site architecture is good, you will have the option to pull the information and reuse it for creating new pages. So it's not creating content, it's creating proper architecture to reuse the information you already have stored in your database.
So here you're talking about product development as a way to grow your site footprint and your overall rankings.
Correct. The development is also a huge important side. But what's also important is to notice how you can become the solution in your industry. It's not just, okay, everyone's doing this, I'm just going to do the same thing and hope for a better result. And they have this article or that article, we need to do this, but better. Yeah, that's it. But in other hand, like there's a really good quote from Peter Thiel. He's one of the founders of PayPal. He said, like, all the happy companies are different. Why? Because they have like this really unique approach to solving a specific user problem. And all the sad companies or unsuccessful ones are all the same. They fail to escape competition. So this is how we also must think in advance, like solving a unique problem.
Failing to escape competition. We SEOs will never manage that, will we?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
One last thing, which is, of course, my favorite part that I want to tackle, but time is over. For the design and the structure of the on-page SEO, of course, I'm not gonna just gonna mention 3 things, which is the title and the description and the heads. Of course, the headline 1, 2, and 3. These are very important, and of course, for me, is more crucial than the off-page SEO. So yeah, that's only what I want to mention.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I believe that because this conversation is really engaging, in case if you want to talk to our amazing panelists, please try to reach them out and please give them a big hand right now. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Please give them more of your attention behind the stage. Thank you.